What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. These are my final thoughts for UFC Vegas 30. We have Cyril Gane going against Alexander Volkov. I know there's PFL going on right now, and there's Bellator. So interested to see how many people do show up. But yeah, lots going on outside of the UFC. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in on a Friday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. As always, week after week, no matter what's going on. So first one in the chat, Dustin. What's up, Dustin? Big Brady, how are you doing, my guy? Great videos all week. We got to get you back into NASCAR. Yeah, I'm working on doing something with that. I still do the NASCAR content on Patreon, but kind of trying to working on something here. So we might see that in the very near future. Just trying to figure out how to go about it. Good luck this week. Who is your favorite dog? If I had to pick one, I really do like Ike Villanueva. Don't mind Volkov as a dog as well. What is up, Kyle? How you doing, Brady? Let's make a quid. Loving the 6 p.m. start time here in Ireland. There you go. Yeah, good start time there. My favorite personally would be like a 4 p.m. Start time. That's my favorite, but 1 o'clock for me tomorrow, not terrible. We have Uncle Weezy in the chat fired up to make some money on this card. Let's go. Shout out to Uncle Weezy, the man behind the stats. He will be going live on MMA Lock of the Nights channel at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. So can't talk. Go check out Uncle Weezy then. Brady, my man, MMA isn't a sports, a way of life. 100% agree. What is up, Maddie? This Khabib's boy went tonight. I have no clue. I've not looked into PFL or Bellator at all. Just have not had the time. I've been trying to get my content out, get it out early, especially because the start time's so early as well. I agree. Very, very good card to bet. 100% with you. What is up, Shadow? What is up, Bill, in the chat? Lay it on us. I'm about to lay it on you all guys right now. I have like 14 bets this week. It's crazy. So many spots stick out, and I think there's going to be a lot of violence. Howdy, boys. What's up, Spencer? Thanks for hanging out. Yo, Brady, good luck, everyone. Early smart start tomorrow. Yep, early start. My betting breakdown video will be out right after this video. I think I scheduled it for 8:15, so about an hour and 15 minutes. Billings on Shavkat, Rayani Barcelos over 2.5, and Worley Alves doesn't go to the distance. Decent. Don't hate it. What is cracking, Brady Bunch? I hit a 4-teamer last week for 800. There you go. Very nice. I hit a, I think it was like a 5-teamer, 4 or 5-teamer last week myself. With your birthday tomorrow, I'd go all in if I were you. Thank you, Austin. Austin's my brother there. Thanks, Austin. Hopefully, it's a good birthday for me. The DK shirt's looking sharp. Hopefully, it's a foreshadowing a takedown on there. I hope so as well. I hope so. Had a really good night 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago now. But the last 2 weeks have been kind of tough. But hopefully, a good one there. So we'll get into it before we do. So if you guys can leave a like on the video, let's get those likes up. Don't think we'll hit 100. Probably nearly impossible with Bellator and PFL going on. But let's try it. Let's try to get the 100 mark. And then other than that, do you want to shout out the sponsor, Pub Sports Radio? Go head over there. Hit the subscribe to them. Me and Uncle Weezy go live every Sunday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time, doing a new show called Stat Diggers. Everybody seems to really like it. And there's no card next week. We have a week off, but I will be doing some content on my channel next week, regardless if there's no card or not. Going to be doing a main event, a deep dive on the Conor Poirier fight, and then going to be doing a main or a co-main event deep dive on the co-main event, which is Gilbert Burns and Wonderboy Thompson. So still, although we do not have fights next week, I will be getting out some content. What's up, DFS fans? Let's get those fight doesn't give decisions. Yep, there's quite a bit of them. All right, so let's get into it here. And like I said, there's a ton of action, man. Damir Hadzovic going against Nancy Medeiros. This is going to be my first bet of the night, and it is a violence bet. So I do have one unit on the under 2.5, which is at plus 145, and that's a very, very popular play this week. We do see that now at like minus 110, plus 100, and it was kind of a play on the number for me. Last time they were supposed to fight, I did bet this one as well at plus 140, so getting a little bit better of a price here. It actually opened at plus 160, so I missed it by a little bit, but still, plus 145, I do like it here. I guess we'll take a look at the finish rates between the two. Hadzovic, 77% finish rate, finishing over 50% of his wins by knockout. Medeiros, 80% finish rate, finishing over 50% of his wins by knockout. So both guys, more than capable finishers. Both guys hit very, very hard. And Medeiros does have a pretty poor striking defense. I want to say it's like at 46%, which is not good. You know, very hittable, has a negative significant strike differential. And that's kind of why I'm picking Hadzovic to win and probably pick him to win by knockout. But I do think either guy's live for a finish. I think it'd be really smart for Medeiros to attack the ground game in this fight. But the problem is he has one takedown in his entire UFC career. I think he shot 4 total. So don't really expect that. But if he was going to, now is the fight where Hadzovic has like a 38% takedown defense. But I think it's going to be a very exciting fight. I do think it starts out with a bang, and I do think somebody goes down. And I am going to be picking Hadzovic to win by knockout. Hadzovic by knockout plus 270 on FanDuel Sportsbook. I don't know if it's still there, but it was at plus 500, which is insane. I ended up passing there, but ultimately I do have the under 2.5 rounds plus 145 and have 1 unit on that. As far as DK goes, you guys know me. You guys know I do love the first fight of the night. I think this one could be very sneaky. I do think it's going to be a little bit under-owned, and I think Hadzovic and Medeiros are both live for a finish, actually. So I'll sprinkle a little bit of both guys. Not going to go crazy on this first fight, but I do think there is a solid chance it does finish and a solid chance it does find the optimal lineup. But the pick will be Damir Hadzovic there. What do you think of Justin James dropping 25K on himself? Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. The guy has a lot of confidence, and I cannot wait to break down that fight. It's actually the next fight. Happy birthday. We are cashing big tomorrow. I hope so. I really hope so. Let's go. I agree. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Appreciate that, Gaming Wolf. Hey, man, I was wondering if you know how Fantasy Cruncher works. Please, I could do some help. I haven't used Fantasy Cruncher in a couple months. I've been using my own optimizer, so maybe if you DM me, I can probably help you. The face-offs, Damir and Nancy, both fighters look great. I agree. What's your 4-fight parlay for this card? Not that you do them, but still, I would stay away from the parlays on this card. I think there's some solid parlay pieces, but I personally don't have any parlays. Except like a Hail Mary. Under 2.5 or over for the first fight. I'm leaning towards the under there. I heard Hadzovic looked huge at weigh-ins. Yeah, it looked in phenomenal shape. Does he have any gassing out problems? I wouldn't say so. Great card to bet on. I agree. Got the General in the chat. What's up, General? All right, so we'll move on to the next fight here. And we have Charles Rosa going against Justin James. And again, another violence bet. Typically, when you think of Justin James, man, you think of violence. This guy has 4 UFC fights, and he has not seen the scorecards yet in the UFC. He's been knocked out a couple times. I think he's been knocked out, submitted before in the UFC. He's been finished in the first round, the second round, and the third round, I believe. And he does have a first-round finish over Frank Camacho. So the guy has not seen the over 2.5 yet. But I did pull the trigger on the fight. Doesn't go to decision in this fight. Minus 132, 1.25 units on it. I did the fight doesn't go to decision rather than the under, which I think the under is fine as well. But I do want those extra 2.5 minutes because James, he's somebody that does slow down as the fight goes on. And I could see like a potential Rosa, maybe like a late third round finish. But, if James wins, it's probably in the first round. I forget the exact number. I put it on Patreon, but James I think is like 16 wins, something like that. He has like 11 or 12 finishes in the first round. So I think if he does win, it's probably in the first round. He looked in phenomenal shape today on the scales. And yeah, somebody mentioned in the chat, he bet 25K on himself. And that's crazy, man. That is a lot of confidence in yourself. I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems like it's true. He keeps talking about it. He posted on Twitter. He posted on Instagram. But yeah, he's going to go out there and he's gonna fight hard. He's going to fight hard. He knows for sure if he loses this fight, he's cut. So I do like violence here. I think it's either James early or Rosa late. Listen to an interview with both guys. James predicted himself to get a second-round knockout. Rosa actually predicted himself to get like a first-round knockout, which I wouldn't recommend coming in there with that game plan. But the pick for me is going to be Rosa. But I did see a prop that I thought had a ton of value. So I did pull the trigger on a little sprinkle here, quarter unit. Justin James wins by first-round knockout, plus 900. Quarter unit on it. I think if he does win, that's how it's done, by first-round knockout. Rosa has not really shown any durability issues. He's only been knocked out once in the third round by Burgos. But Justin James is going to be coming forward. It is a smaller cage. He does hit like a truck. So yeah, if James does win, it's probably in the first round. If he does lose, I do see Rosa getting the finish himself, whether it is by a submission, maybe a ground and pound as well. But yeah, Rosa, 88% finish rate. I was very shocked when I saw that. So when Rosa's winning, he's getting finishes. Just about a 90% finish rate for Rosa. James has been knocked out twice. He's been submitted once as well. The gas tank is the big problem for me there. But yeah, I do see this fight finishing. As far as DK goes, I want both sides. I think James, if he wins, again, probably early, probably scores well. If Rosa wins, it probably does finish as well, probably scores decent himself. So violence for me once more. Fight doesn't go to decision. I think the under is okay as well. And I also have a little sprinkle on Justin James winning by first round knockout, because I do think if he wins, that's more than likely how it goes. All right, let's see what we got in the chat here. And like I said, lots of finishes. Like you can make a case for just about every single fight on this card finishing. I think I'm picking like 8 fights to finish, which is a ton. But yeah, should be fun. What is your favorite violence bet this week? We'll talk about it in a little bit, but Moicano versus Herbert. Yeah, crazy. Brought that up a little bit. Don't go crazy with the parlays. Yeah, I wouldn't this week. There's some solid spots, but personally would kind of stay away from the parlays. Thoughts on Shavkat Barcelos over 2.5, and all of this doesn't go the distance parlay. Kind of dangerous. Kind of dangerous. But I do think that does hit. Danger with the dono. Appreciate that. Happy birthday. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you, Danger, for hanging out. And thank you for the dono. Really do appreciate that. When I saw this is the second fight, I knew this was going to be a good card. Yeah, the card's great. A lot of people are kind of crapping on the card, but man, it's good. Appreciate that, General. Someone's getting finished. I agree. That's usually what happens in Jane's fights, right? Like, typically in Jane's fights, you want to bet violence. I think I've bet violence in, 3 out of his 4 fights, and they've all hit. So that's awesome. Happy birthday, brother. Both guys live for KO. I'd say so. I just hopped in, bro. Happy Friday night. Happy Friday night to you as well. Anything in weigh-ins make you change your viewpoints? None at all. Everybody made weight. Everybody looked good. I guess we'll talk about it, but Shavkat looked like 2 or 3 weight classes above Brazeris. Volkov looked really good, looked really thick. That was awesome, but nothing really, man. Taking Herbert. Appreciate that, Chief. Locking the night is Shavkat. Could be. Have a great birthday, Andrew. Have a good day tomorrow. Thank you, Mom. Appreciate you hanging out as well. So, all right, family's hanging out in the chat tonight. So, Avila going against Stoliarenko. Another fight where, I don't have a bet on this card or a bet on this fight, but if I was to, it'd probably be, honestly, violence. I mean, a Stoliarenko, you take a look at it, 90% finish rate, all those finishes by submission, and all those finishes by armbar as well. So it's safe to say if Stoliarenko wins, it's probably a classic women's MMA armbar from guard, which could happen. It could. I say very unlikely, but if it does happen, that's probably how she wins. So Avila, I do think she's better pretty much everywhere. I think she's going to be the better striker by a decent margin. She hits very hard. Stoliarenko very tough, but she has been finished in half her losses. So I don't know. I like Avila to win. I wouldn't really recommend parlaying Avila at -400, but outside of like an armbar from guard, which again, it could definitely happen. It's women's MMA. But I do think Avila does get it done, probably by knockout, honestly. I was looking at the under. I was looking at the fight doesn't go to decision, but typically with these women's fights, you see the unders and the fight doesn't go to decisions at like +250, +300, crazy numbers like that. But the bookmakers are definitely all over it, where we have the fight doesn't go decision line about at a pick'em. So I'm going to pass even like Avila by knockout, +250 on FanDuel Sportsbook. It was like +360. I'd probably take a shot on that. But another fight where I'm gonna pass here. I do think there's a good chance it finishes, but again, women's MMA, we do see it more often than not. It does go to decision. Stoliarenko, she is tough, so I'll take Avila to win inside the distance, but I just can't bet that. As far as DK goes, I actually kind of like Avila. I think she has potential to score very well at very low ownership. I think she's going to be one of the lowest owned in that 9K range, and for that reason, I do have some interest there. As far as Stoliarenko, I mean, decent punt. If she wins, again, it's by armbar from guard. So solid fight to target, I'd say. More on the Avila side, but not going to bet this one. I think there's potential for violence, just don't like the number on it. I saw under 2.5 earlier, was like +150. Passed on it. That line's now down to +120, even worse. So I think the best move is probably to pass here, unless you got in on the violence bet early. I think it's probably a good shot. Yeah, Shavkat looked really big, to say the least, man. Avila, yeah, I think Avila gets it done. Avila by KO sub +255, yeah, not terrible. Most likely try and put a unit on it. Yeah, not terrible. I'd say probably how she does win there. All right. So getting into the next fight here, we have Marcin Prachnio going against Ike Villanueva, and I'm thinking more violence here. So I do have 2 bets on this fight. And yeah, I've been really tempted on Ike Villanueva all week as far as like an underdog. He's sitting at, what is he sitting at? Like +1. Money's been coming in on him, +160. He was at +185 early in the week. I was very tempted, but I kind of thought, hey, if he wins it, it's probably by knockout. I really don't see him winning a decision. I really don't see this going to decision in general. Prachnio does have 4 losses, 5 losses, 4 by knockout, 3 in the first round by knockout. There was a one point where he was, 0-3 in the UFC, all by first round knockout, and then he goes and beats Khalil Roundtree by decision, which I thought in that fight that was like the least likely scenario, but he does it, and now he's a big favorite over Ike Villanueva. I don't think Prachnio should be -200 against anyone in the UFC, to be honest. So I do think there's value on Ike Villanueva's money line, but I did take a little shot on that knockout prop for Ike Villanueva. I got 0.25 units on Ike Villanueva wins by knockout, and I got it at plus 300. I think that's a solid shot there. I think if he wins, it probably is by knockout. Hard to see him winning by decision. I think Prochnio, if he does win, it's probably either a late finish or a decision himself. Prochnio is probably going to have more volume, but I do think Ike, especially in the smaller cage, is going to be coming forward, throwing bombs, trying to get Prochnio out of there. So, quarter unit on the fight, or Ike Villanueva wins by knockout. And then I also did a fight does not start round 3 plus 102, 1 unit on that. So if there is a finish in this fight, I do think it's early. All Marcin Prochnio's finishes have actually came in the first round. And you can say the same thing for Ike. All of his first round finishes, or all his finishes, have came in the first round besides one. So combined between the two, there has only been one finish outside of that first round, and it was Ike Villanueva in his last fight against Moreira. So I actually don't hate the under 1.5 rounds, but I did choose the fight does not start round 3 just to get an extra half round. Even like the under 2.5 alternate line, I think that's fine as well. Even like the fight doesn't go to decision, minus 180. Like I'd be kind of shocked to see this fight go to decision because, man, against Roundtree versus Prochnio, the fight doesn't go to decision line was something crazy like minus 400, minus 450. So now going from that to this, especially against Ike Villanueva, who has not seen the scorecards in a while, I think there could be a little bit of recency bias on that. But again, violence here for me. I think Ike gets the knockout. As far as DK goes, I think this should be lined a lot closer. I think this should be like a 8,200, 8,000 matchup. But here we have Prochnio at 9K, which is just crazy. I think Ike's a solid play down there at 7,200 because if Ike does win, it is probably by finish. Ike Villanueva has been finished in 10 of his 11 losses, so it's safe to say if Prochnio wins, it could be a finish himself. So I think violence is the way to go here as well. Was tempted on the Ike Villanueva side, especially the money line. I see a lot of people taking the shot on Ike, and I really don't hate it. I think the line's off. I think you're getting value, but I do think if Ike Villanueva wins, it is more than likely by knockout. Should be a fun fight. People's main event probably, but I do like Ike Villanueva to get it done. Ike will actually throw bombs, unlike Roundtree. That was an embarrassing performance. Embarrassing performance by Roundtree just to not show up. He gave Prochnio the exact fight he wanted. The exact fight he wanted. Sticking on the outside. Roundtree hurt him a couple times as well, just did not follow up. Probably bet the inside the distance for Avila. Don't hate Stoliarenko as an underdog here with you as well. Uncle Weezy, I still do not have no idea how Prochnio is minus 200 favorite. Ike has fast hands and he will pressure Marcin. Yep. He's going to make it a dogfight. He's going to do the exact opposite of what Roundtree did. Stick on the outside, play Prochnio's game. He's going to come forward, the small cage, wing bombs, and try to find that chin. I was listening to an Ike Villanueva interview the other day, and it was pretty funny. He was calling Prochnio chinny and all that, which he really is. And he's calling for a knockout by round 2 there. So we'll see. We'll see. I do think it's very live. Should be fun. Should be a fun fight for as long as it lasts. Pineda wins inside the distance. He could, man. He could. Ends in round 1 or 2. For me, plus 100. I'm with you right there. I have it at plus 102, getting about the same line. These guys really even belong in the UFC. I agree. There you go. Don't think it's a terrible play whatsoever. Fading Ike over here. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend parlaying Prochnio, nothing like that. But yeah, Prochnio could win. You very well could. 6 decisions between them in a 50 fight. That's crazy, right? Fight doesn't go decision looks good, especially at minus 180. Like I said, I think there's some serious recency bias in this fight. Both guys finishers, both guys can be finished. Believe in the Hurricane. I like it. This is a low fight, man. Yep, low level to say the least. But typically we see low level fights do end in violence, especially this one probably. Barcelo, Shavkat, Fili, parlay. I was thinking about doing a parlay this week. I was thinking about doing Bark, Solos, and Shavkat. Ended up passing there, but I think it's solid. Don't know if I parlay Fili, though. All right, so getting into the next fight here, we have more violence. Warley Alves going against Jeremiah Wells, and I did bet the fight doesn't go to decision. I got it at minus 140. I have 1.5 units on it. Money has came in on that since then, and it probably should because, man, this fight has a very solid chance of finishing, I'd say, just based off of the style of Warley Alves, who wants to get in there and get out. We saw in his last fight against Munir Lazez, finished him in the first couple minutes of that fight. And this is a fight where I think, again, he's live for that first round finish. Going against Jeremiah Wells, who I actually think's pretty good. I like his skill set. He has a ton of power. He's a BJJ black belt. But the problem is this guy has fought literally nobody. This is going to be a huge, massive step up in competition fighting Warley Alves. He's coming off of a 2-year layoff. He's coming in on short notice. Just a lot of things going against Jeremiah Wells. With that said, if he's able to survive that first storm of Alves, we have seen Alves slow down in the past. It seems like nowadays Alves has like a couple minutes of cardio. So if Wells can survive that first round, can survive those first couple minutes, weather that early storm, I think Wells can get a finish himself later in the fight goes. I know he's on short notice, but still, you got to think his cardio is probably better than Alves because Alves' cardio has been looking terrible. And I have seen Wells go 5 rounds before. So Alves, I do think the more likely scenario is he finishes Wells in that first round. I just have concerns about if this fight doesn't get extended. But, either guy can get a finish here. Alves, very good finisher, lots of power, BJJ black belt, legit grappler. Wells, again, lots of power, BJJ black belt himself. Both guys probably questionable gas tanks. And minus 140 just seems so off. You now see it minus 215. Even then, like the under 2.5 could be something to look at here. I think most books did set the over-under at 1.5, which makes sense because Alves probably does win in that first round. But if this does get out of the first round, like I said, I think Wells is very, very live. As far as DK goes, I like Alves quite a bit. More of a tournament play for me because I can't really trust the guy in his cardio. He's kind of inconsistent, but I really do think he should win in that first round. But I do think it's another good opportunity for some violence here. And I'm going to pick Alves to win by first round finish. But would I be shocked if Alves gassed out after trying to finish Wells and then Wells finishes him late or in that second round? No, I would not. But I do think violence, again, is the way to go here. Lots of violence opportunities on this card. Throughout the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fights so far, I could really see all 5 of them finishing. So I think especially early, there's going to be some serious finishes on this card to start out. But yeah, I do like that play quite a bit. Do like the line I got, even at the line now, like minus 215, the under 2.5, which is probably, I forget what it was, like minus 170. I still think that's pretty solid. Who's your locks for the night? No locks. No locks on this card for me. No locks. I have 14 plays. All of them are pretty small, anywhere between 0.25 to 2 units at the max. My biggest play is 2 units, so really no lock for me. Yeah, I'd say Wells is live. He is very talented. Like I said, I do like his skill set. It's just a lot of things are going against him. Probably Alves, club and sub. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Smash that like button. I agree. Let's get those likes up. 116 here, which is not terrible. Lots going on outside of this. PFL, Bellator. I know some of you guys are probably watching the cards as I speak. That's fine. Thanks for hanging out. Really, really do appreciate it a ton. And if you're watching in the future, again, appreciate it a ton as well. All right, so let's see what we are at here. Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Michel Prazeres. And this will be my biggest bet of the card. And it's not saying much because it's only a 2-unit play. I bet Shavkat about 2 weeks ago. Got it at minus 182. I was thinking about going a little bit heavier on it. Not like a max bet or anything like that. But 2 units on at minus 182. And you have seen the line like blow up since then. And I'm lucky I got it then because I bet it minus 182. And then the very next day, it shot up to like minus 220. So got in just in time. And glad I did because I don't know. I wouldn't really bet it at minus 305 here, to be honest. Like Michel Prazeres, he's a very good fighter. He's a very, very good fighter, very good record. The problem is, and there's a lot of problems in this fight, he's about 40 years old. He's 39, turning 40 next month, I believe, coming off of a 2-year layoff, coming off of a PED suspension, coming off of a surgery, 10-inch reach disadvantage, like a 7 or 8 height inch reach disadvantage. Just a lot of things going against the guy. His last performance against Ismail Nardiev, he looked horrible. He got reversed 3 or 4 times by Nardiev. His cardio looked bad. He's at the wrong weight class. Just a ton of things going against Prazeres. And then you got an absolute killer in front of him in Shavkat Rakhmonov, who has a 100% finish rate. I really like this guy's skill set. He's good anywhere the fight goes. But I do think Prazeres could potentially give Shavkat some problems, at least early in that first round. I wouldn't be completely shocked if Prazeres made the first round very competitive. It's just after the first round, when Prazeres does slow down, I do think Rakhmonov is going to take over and probably finish Prazeres late or maybe even win by decision. Prazeres, in about 30 fights, has never lost by knockout. He's never lost by submission. So it could go to distance, but I do like Rakhmonov to win here. 9-100, I don't hate it. There are some other plays I like a little bit more than Rakhmonov, but Rakhmonov should be solid here. As far as like a pump play on DK Prazeres, if he wins, he probably scores a ton of Draftkings points. It's just hard to see him winning. 40 years old, questionable gas tank, fighting at the wrong weight class. Clearly, we saw Shavkat at the weigh-ins today. Shavkat looked like 2 or 3 weight classes above him. So I guess the only thing I don't like is everybody's calling Shafkat like a lock this week. He's now minus 305. Everybody's betting Shafkat, which I agree with. It's just a little bit sketchy. I personally would not lay 3-1 for Shafkat in this matchup. I think he's very talented. I still think he has a lot of question marks, but this is a fight that he really should win. So I get it. I do have him in my Hail Mary parlay, and I do think he wins. I will have him on DraftKings as well, but I do like the line I got in on minus 182, 2 units on it. Was going to make it a little bit bigger of a play, but I have seen Shavkat taken down. With that said, his ground game is very good. He's good off his back. I've seen him get sweeps, reversals. I can kind of see that here. If Ismail Nardiev sweeping you, I do think Shavkat can as well. And that fight was like two years ago. So, Prazeres isn't getting any better, especially, without the PEDs, to be honest. So give me Shavkat for the win. I know he's everybody's lock of the week, and he really should win, but minus 300, it's getting up there. It's getting up there for sure. But got to go Shavkat. Rachmanov, not a lock. Not for me personally, but he should win. He should win. Justin Jane said he was going to bet his paycheck on himself to win. What are your thoughts? You talked about it a little bit. The guy's confidence in himself, for sure. When I saw these two face off, I actually started laughing at me as well. Shavkat looks 2 weight classes bigger than Michelle. Yep, 100%. Braziers looked like a small child at the face off. Yep. I mean, the guy's like ripped, but yeah, he's tiny. 9% picking Braziers on Tapology. Not bad. Braziers looked like he's still in the juice a little bit, yeah. If he wins and gets popped, do I get my money back? Sadly, no. Sadly, no, you don't. Rachmanov looked quite good at the weigh-ins face-offs today, though Rachmanov has the reach and height that could pose problems for Braziers 100%. But I do think early Shavkat could potentially battle some adversity here. I could honestly see Braziers taking him down a couple times. But with that said, I don't think he has the gas tank to do that for 3 rounds. Rachmanov by decision is a lock. I could see a finish. What covered dish should I bring tomorrow? Maybe like some nachos. Some buffalo chicken dip would be cool as well. I don't know. Whatever you want, man. Shout out to Chris. 2-team Hail Mary parlay pays plus 700. Both double chance bets. Bovada. Shavkat by KO or sub. Barcelos by KO or sub. I could see it. I'm picking Shavkat personally by like a late 3rd round finish. Barcelos personally, I do have a decision, but then again, I think Barcelos could finish as well. Not terrible. All right, so we'll get to the next fight here. We have Moicano going against Jai Herbert. And back. Wait, I skipped the fight. So this order is messed up on my end. The Chapology changed it later in the week. I think Barcelos Valiev is like the 3rd fight from the top, but we'll take care of it now. Barcelos Valiev. You listen to these breakdowns, and every single person is saying this is the most underrated fight of the card, which I disagree with because everybody's saying it's the best fight of the card, and it definitely is. But good fight here. Good, well-matched fight. Barcelos minus 220, Valiev plus 185. And I was thinking about parlaying Barcelos and Rachmanov, ended up passing there. I know Uncle Weezy's on that parlay, and I think it's a solid parlay. As far as betting the money line, I was kind of hoping it would come down a little bit. You see a lot of love out there for Tamir Valiev, but I think it's a really good fight. I think both guys are very talented. It's just crazy to think about. Valiev loses to Trevin Jones as a huge favorite, and then Valiev beats Martin Day, who went 0-5 between the UFC and the Contender Series, and now he's only plus 185 against Barcelos. Honestly, I think the line's fine. You could argue it should be closer, but this is a huge step up, man. I mean, you can't get much of a step up than this. Going from Martin Day to Hany Barcelos, that's a massive jump. Barcelos, what I do like, very good everywhere. You can't really find a hole in this guy's game outside of maybe some cardio issues. Does slow down as the fight goes on, but you can say the same thing about Valiev. He did slow down on that Trevin Jones fight, it did look like. But I think it's going to be very competitive on the feet. But I think what's going to be the difference is I have seen Valiev taken down. I've seen him taken down quite a bit. I think that's where Barcelos is going to win this fight, getting the takedowns. His ground game is very good. It should be competitive. But I'm going to take Barcelos to win by decision. I like Barcelos on DK as well. I think it's to be a very high-paced fight, a high-scoring fight as a whole. And Barcelos, when he wins, he does score well. I think he averages like 99 points, 99 DK points. So I do like Barcelos. Not going to bet it. But I do think there's a solid chance he does get it done. Lots of love on the Valiev side is like a dog play. I guess I can see Valiev is a very good fighter himself, but man, what a step up in competition. Going from Martin Day Martin Day to Barcelos is just crazy. But give me Barcelos to win. No bet there for me. Appreciate it, General. Thank you for hanging out. Rachmanov is younger, though, so he is my most confident pick this week. I won't be shocked if he lost to Brazeris. Yeah, I'd say he's my most confident pick as well. Barcelos needs to fire his management. He needs to be fighting a ranked fighter. Yeah, that's the problem with the guy. And the guy's 34 years old. A lot of people think this guy's top 5 potential, top 10 potential, and he probably does. It's just he's 35 years old. I just don't think he'll get there at this point. He's probably going to be 35 by the next time he fights. It just sucks. I parlayed Barcelos, Tank Davis. There you go. All right, so we'll get to the next fight. 112 in here. If you guys can hit the like, that'd be much, much appreciated. Also, subscribe to not miss out on the other content. My betting breakdown video will be out in about 45 minutes. Basically what I'm covering here, but in a very condensed version. So go check that out when it does come out. All right. Next, we have Renato Moicano going against Jai Herbert in another very popular play within the community. It looks like Moicano, Herbert, violence. I think that's the way to go. You take a look at it. Let's see how many fights these guys have combined. I want to say it's like 31 fights. Neither guy has ever lost by decision, ever. When they win, they're getting finishes. When they lose, they're getting finished. Moicano, 3 knockout losses, 1 by submission. Herbert, 2 knockout losses, 1 by Reese McKee, which is not a good look, and once by Francisco Trinaldo. So you take a look at their finish rates, and Moicano, 50%, and all of those are by submission. So he's finishing half his wins by sub. No knockout wins yet, but hey, this could be the first time that happens against Herbert, who is, pretty chinny himself. Herbert, 90% finish rate, 80% by knockout, so he has a lot of power. So, yeah, I think the way to look here is going to be violence as well, and I do have a play on a violence bet. I got the under 2.5 rounds here, minus 125. I have 1.25 units on it. I think it's like minus 145, minus 150 now. I still really like that. The fight doesn't go to decision. What's that sitting at? Minus 185. I think that's very good. I do see this fight finishing one way or another. Honestly, I think this is a huge step up in competition for Herbert from the guys who've been fighting. And it's a huge step down in competition for Moicano from the guys he's been fighting. You take a look at Moicano and who he's losing to, who's getting knocked out by Fiziev, Jose Aldo, and the Korean Zombie. Like, no shame in any of those. But you have Herbert, who's getting knocked out by Reese McKee. So I think Moicano is on a completely different level. Would I be shocked if Herbert knocked him out? No, I would not. I don't think Moicano should win the best, but Moicano really should take him down, and he really should win this, probably by first-round submission. So give me Moicano. I like him on DK as well, 9,400. I think if he wins, takedowns, control time, early finish. But if Herbert wins, which I do have some Herbert as well on DK, probably by some type of knockout. So you got to think, like, Moicano's got to know, like, take this guy to the mat, and you'll get a submission. It's just Moicano does tend to strike a little bit more than he should. Even if he does that, I still favor him, but that is giving Herbert a path to victory there. So I have seen Herbert taken down quite a few times. He's gotten his back taken. I've seen somebody get into mount as well. And if Moicano gets into mount or takes his back, the fight will be over very shortly after, and that's kind of how I see it as well. But I think the way to look here is, again, another violence bet for me. I have a ton of them this card, and for a very, very good reason. But yes, I do see this fight finishing one way or another. I don't really care who does it, but I will have Moicano getting it done. Barcelo is 4 months older than Aldo. Yeah, that's crazy, man. My friend, how did you see the weigh-ins between Shavkat and Brazeris? How did I see them? Just type in UFC Vegas 30 weigh-ins. Moicano's chin is suspect. Do not parlay this guy. Yeah, I wouldn't parlay him personally. I think violence is probably the way to go. But I think in hindsight, like, I think this line is going to look like an absolute gift. But again, hard to trust him. Herbert first round KO, hey, very likely. Battle of the chins, yes, sir. Who has the worst chin? Moicano's chin worries me as well. Herbert only made it to decision once in his career. That is very true. And I don't see that changing here. So, yeah, I really do like that bet, especially the line where I got it. I think there's a ton of value, and honestly, a ton of value still on it. The line hasn't moved that much, but it is a very popular play out there. All right, 1 second. I'm going to get a quick drink here. What I take from it? Oh, yeah. Shavkat looked like 2, honestly 3, maybe weight classes bigger than Brazeris. So I take a look at it. Big difference there. All right, so getting to the next fight here, and I have a straight bet on Tim Means. So, yeah, I looked into this fight. I really like Tim Means. I looked into it more, and I really like Tim Means even more. So you take a look at Nicholas Dalby and what he's done through his UFC career. So he beats Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos by split decision, and that was 6 years ago. Split decision there. Yeah, good win, very good win. But since then, draw with Darren Till in a fight where he got dropped. A decision loss to Zach Cummings in a fight where he got dropped. A loss to Peter Sabata in a fight where, guess what? He got dropped. A close decision win over Alex Oliveira. And then a fight where Jesse Ronson dropped him and then submitted him. Jesse Ronson. But Jesse Ronson did test positive for, I believe, PEDs. So that did turn to a no contest, I believe. And then he beats Daniel Rodriguez, and still to this day, I just don't know how any judge or anybody could give that fight to Nicholas Dalby. And I watched it back, many times, and I just don't know. One judge even gave a 30-27 to Nicholas Dalby, which could be one of the worst cards I've ever seen. You take a look at it round by round. Dalby got outlanded 31-17 in the first round, 17-9 in the second round, 35-24 in the third round. So outlanded every round, 0 for 7 on takedowns. 58 total strikes compared to Rodriguez's 105 total strikes. The 30-27 is pretty sickening. So, looking back at the career, like, I'm not all that impressed. A win over Rodriguez, which should have been a loss. A very close win over Oliveira. A very close win over dos Santos. That win is good. But other than that, he's getting dropped 4 times out of his 7 fights. And, with that said, he only lands 3.20 significant strikes per minute, absorbs 3.57. So he does have a negative significant strike differential. And the most significant strikes he's ever landed in a fight was that Till fight where he did land 84. The next best was 57. And you take a look at Tim Means, very high volume, 5.16 significant strikes landed per minute, only absorbs 3.58, 61% striking defense. And you take a look at some of Tim Means' fights when it goes to decision, 128 significant strikes, 85 significant strikes, 129 significant strikes, 91 significant strikes. So you just see that if this does go to decision, Tim Means is going to rack up a ton of volume. So, how does Nicholas Dalby win this fight? Is he going to knock out Tim Means? His chin's not all that there nowadays, 37 years old, but he has only been knocked out 2 times in his career. But Dalby has 0 finishes in the UFC, and not only 0 finishes, 0 knockdowns. 0 knockdowns in the UFC. So will he get his first one here? I don't think so. Only a 53% finish rate in his career. And then you take a look at it. A lot of people think that Dalby might potentially wrestle Means, and maybe he does, but you take a look at Dalby's last couple fights, he has 1 takedown landed in his last 5 fights. And I added it up. All the time. Over an hour of cage time, 62, 63 minutes. In his last 63 minutes, his last hour of cage time, the guy has 1 takedown. 1 takedown. So, does he knock out Means? I lean towards no. Does he take down Means? Maybe once, but 1 takedown in his last 60 minutes of cage time. So again, I lean towards no. I think, like, for sure, 100%, that Means is going to outland him. It's just up to the judges. It's up to the judges. Means is probably going to win this fight, but again, the judges like Nicholas Dalby, it looks like. So we'll see. I did pull the trigger on Tim Means minus 131, 1.25 units on it. I saw him go as low as like minus 123 for some reason. I was going to wait to see where that line went. See a lot of love for Dalby. Thought it might flip, honestly, but ended up going the other way. So I did jump on at the minus 131. It's still around minus 130. And I'm just struggling, like, honestly, to see how Nicholas Dalby wins this fight. But he could. It's just, man, he's going to get outlanded. If he does not get takedowns or knockout Means, I just don't see how he wins it. So give me Means. I know Dalby's a very popular dog. I'm not sure why. Not sure why, but hey, I could be wrong. Brady Bunch, let's get that money. I agree. Thank you for hanging out, Larry. Brady Mob, what's up, Vince? Clint was freaking out about the weigh-in. Dalby looked good. Clint bet Means. Yet it was not able to watch Clint's show yet. Battle of the Old Man. Yep. Means 37. Dalby not much younger, 36 years old. I'm thinking means by KO. Yeah, the problem with that is Dalby's never been knocked out in his career, but he has been dropped a ton. 10 with the finish. Yeah, I'm leaning more towards a decision, but would love to see him knock him out. I'm thinking it goes a decision. I'm with you as well. But yeah, I mean, I could be totally off. But man, just after looking into it and digging into it more, I think the volume is going to be huge. Unless, Dalby, like I said, last 60 minutes of cage time, one takedown. I don't know. Never bet against the toughness of the Danes. Yeah, Uncle Weasley went on a little story about the Danes. You can check that out on Stat Diggers on Pub Sports Radio. But yeah, they're very tough. Never been knocked out in Dalby. What's up, Jeannie? Hey, Mr. DFS. What is up, Jeannie? Have not seen you in a while. Hopefully you're doing well. So we'll get to the next fight. All right, Andre Fili going against Daniel Pineda. Andre Fili is minus 220. Pineda is plus 185, and I have some more violence. Yeah, I was like shocked. We talked about this on Stat Diggers on Sunday where the under 2.5 opened at like plus 135, which is crazy. I was able to get in on it at plus 120 under 2.5 rounds. I just think that's so off. I mean, kind of reminds you of the Pineda, the Justin James fight where, they're pretty similar guys. If they're going to win, it's going to be in that first round. So I do have the under 2.5 rounds plus 120, 1 unit on it. And I also did the same thing here. I did Pineda wins in round 1 plus 900, quarter unit on it. I think if Pineda wins, it's going to be in the first round. So I posted the exact numbers on Patreon. I forget what it was. I think like 19 of Pineda's wins have been in that first round. A ton of first round finishes throughout his career. And I guess the big thing is I think like 41 fights for Daniel Pineda, 100% finish rate. This guy does not know how to win by decision. Kind of a killer be killed fighter, has 9 finished losses himself, 3 by knockout, 6 by submission. So I took a little sprinkle on Pineda wins by first round finish. It could be a sub, could be a knockout. I don't know. He could do both. But I think Fili probably does survive that storm and get him out of there in that second or third. But yeah, plus 120 in a Pineda fight to end inside the distance or to go under, I think that's a very solid way to look. Like I said, reminds me just like the Justin James Rosa fight where you have James going to come out there, try to get that finish early. If it is not, he's going to gas out. Same thing with Daniel Pineda. He's going to go out there, try to get that first round finish. If it is not, we have seen him slow down quite a bit, especially in his last fight. He's getting up there in age, 35 years old, coming off of the PED suspension a couple fights ago. It certainly looked like he slowed down a ton. So Pineda, very dangerous early. If not, I think Fili does get the finish himself. One of the better fights on the card, in my opinion. As far as DK goes, I do like Pineda as underdog, 7,300. I think if he wins, like I said, probably in the first round. As far as Fili, I think if he wins, probably like a second or third round finish. But I do think there's a very good chance Pineda wins that first round. If you are on Fili, maybe take a look at live betting it, because I really don't like the minus 220, but maybe like live bet after the first round could be a decent way to look. But yeah, I think somebody gets finished here. Don't care who. Obviously would love the first round for Pineda. And even like Pineda inside the distance, plus 405, like that's literally how he wins. I think that should be more correlated to his money line there. So that's off. I think it was like plus 600 earlier in the week there. But yeah, should be a fun fight. Give me Fili for the win, but I'm rooting for Pineda and rooting for Pineda early. But ultimately just need somebody to get finished. Really do like that play there. I usually faded Andre the last few times. Maybe this fight will go to decision. Yeah, it could. But man, Pineda fights typically do not do that. I have a 8-team round robin with 8 fight under 2.5. Oh my goodness. 37 went 6K. There you go. Hopefully that hits. Judges were smoking that fight. D-Rod won that. Yeah, I thought D-Rod won it. And there's really no question about it. All right, so we're about 44 minutes here. Going to go about 15 more minutes. Pineda is fun to watch. Killer be killed mentality. Yes, very fun to watch. Very fun to watch. Once again, do appreciate you all hanging out. I know there's a ton going on out there. So yeah, really happy with 130 in here. That's awesome, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out on a Friday. All right, 3 fights left. So the bout order is a little bit messed up, but we'll go with it. Kennedy and Zekachu going against Danilo Marquez. And this is something I got in early about a week and a half ago. Something that really stuck out to me was the Kennedy line, especially after the tape, and I'll talk about why. So I got plus 110. I have 1 unit on the line. Since then has flipped. We now have Kennedy and Zekachu minus 130. Marquez is plus 110. So, I mean, this is a low-level fight. Low-level fight. I didn't go crazy on it, just a unit here, but I think it's a very good stylistic matchup for Kennedy. You take a look at it. Very good takedown defense, 78%. He has been taken down before, but what I like about Kennedy's game is when he gets taken down, he gets right back up. He's very, very hard to take down, and he's even harder to hold down. So I think Marquez is going to have a very tough time getting him down. And if he cannot get him down, he's going to be in serious, serious trouble. Marquez has no striking. Marquez has no cardio. I think Marquez is definitely reliant on a first-round sub, especially considering, the style of Kennedy, how good his takedown defense is, how good his get-up game is. He's going to make Marquez work hard, and I don't think Marquez has the cardio to do that. So I think Marquez, if he does win, it is probably a first-round sub. A lot of people are going to look at, Kennedy's record and say, hey, he lost by submission, so Marquez probably submits him here, but you got to take a look at it, and it was Paul Craig. Paul Craig in a fight where Kennedy was looking really good. He was winning every second of that fight. There was about a minute left, and Craig does what Craig does and gets a Hail Mary submission. Craig went 1 for 15 or like 1 for 16 on takedowns in that fight. Kennedy was able to fight out of a lot of submissions, but it was just that one at the end that Craig did catch Kennedy in. But that was a couple of years ago, so Kennedy has gotten better, training at a very good camp, Fortis MMA. He did take a little bit of a layoff, came back his last fight, and he looked good. He looked good. He looked improved. He did, get his butt kicked for like a round and a half, but great cardio. The guy runs marathons. He's talking about running 26, 27 miles, which is awesome to see, especially in this fight because Marquez probably couldn't run a mile. So give me Kennedy here. Marquez has looked good. He's looked good in his 2 UFC fights, but we got to remember he won against Khadisi Bragimov, who did go 0-4 and has since then been cut, and then against Mike Rodriguez, who has a 40% takedown defense and somebody that's been submitted 3 times. I did post a tweet on this fight about the opponents that Marquez has submitted. If you guys have not seen that, go check it out. It's pretty hilarious. The guys that he's submitting are just like, bottom of the barrel to be worse than bottom of the barrel. Like it's terrible. I mean, Mike Rodriguez is probably the best one out of the bunch he has submitted, but then again, Mike Rodriguez has no ground game whatsoever. So, I mean, yeah, Marquez could win a low-level fight, but man, I think it's a good spot for Kennedy here. As far as DK goes, I'm really overexposed to this fight. I think either Kennedy gets a KO or Marquez gets a sub. Yeah, it was a good fight last time. Lots of low-key bangers on this card. I agree. Oh, and another one, like, I don't have a violence bet on it, but hey, I think there's a good shot for violence. Like under 2.5. Don't hate it. I was surprised Kennedy looked the same size, if not bigger. He did look a little bit bigger. On paper, I think that Marquez was like an inch tall or something like that. But no, I thought Kennedy was a little bit taller. Of course, Kennedy's going to have a 3.5-inch reach advantage as well. What's up, Tajik, the GOAT? I'm a little late, but the king does whatever he wants. How is everybody doing? What's up, Tajik? How you doing, man? Hopefully you do well on this card. What up, Brady Cakes? What is up, Freddie? I got Philly in a few lineups. Fits perfectly. There you go. The stream does not start till the GOAT shows up. Big ups, Tajik Bey. Yes, sir. Tajik is the GOAT. Taking Kennedy based off of cardio, that's a good reason. One guy has seriously good cardio. One guy has seriously bad cardio. But hey, Marquez could submit in the first round. If you like Marquez, that's probably the way to look. I'd be shocked if Marquez either won a decision or even got like a second-round finish, to be honest. So getting into the co-main event, interesting one. Boser going against Ovince St. Preux, OSP. I like Boser. I like Boser in this fight. He's going to be much faster. The more natural heavyweight. But it's hard to trust him. It's hard to not just only trust him. It's hard to trust the judges. He outlanded Latifi. I want to say like 45 to like something crazy, like 5-6 strikes in that fight. He outlanded Andrei Arlovsky in every single round, and it wasn't close. And the judges don't seem to like this guy. But he's going to have a massive speed advantage. I do think he's going to win this fight. OSP, I think he can have a lot of success if he does go to the takedowns. It's just not something OSP has done, recently at all. Against Jamal Hill, he attempted 0 takedowns, which sucked because I did pick OSP against Jamal Hill in that fight, expecting OSP to, hey, maybe take this guy down. Maybe that would be a good idea to take down Jamal Hill. But no, he wanted to strike with Jamal Hill, and of course he got knocked out. Probably the same thing here. He needs to take Boser down. It's just he's probably not going to do it. So give me Boser by decision. I know Boser's talking about getting a finish in this fight, but you take a look at it. The majority of Boser fights do go the distance. OSP was able to take shots from Big Ben Rothwell at heavyweight. I think if he can do that, he's going to take the same shots as Tanner Boser. Boser just not much power, really kick heavy. I see it probably going the distance, but give me Boser by decision. No bet here. Definitely no bet here. I mean, I have Boser in my Hail Mary. Like, I think he should win, but it's hard to trust him. It's hard to trust him. But yeah, this is a fight he should absolutely win. I think he's much, much faster, much more volume, much better cardio, so many advantages outside of the ground game, which OSP probably doesn't go to. But yeah, give me Boser for the win. I'd be a little bit cautious on betting this one though. Go Tajik. Volkov by KO. We'll talk about that soon. Owens by decision, plus 480 on FanDuel, seeing as the judges hate Boser, maybe not a bad look. Yeah, if it goes to decision, anything can happen. Anything can happen. Boser by KO. Yeah, potentially he's talking about needing a finish in this fight. He's talking about it. He doesn't want it to go to the judges. So I think he's going to try to do that, which I would not recommend. This is the fight where he's probably not going to want to do that. He probably needs to, fight how he has been. I think he wins this fight pretty easily. But if he does get into a firefight with OSP, I don't know if that's a good idea. Tajik with the dono. Little appreciation to the chat. Great community. Uncle Weezy, huge respect. Shout out to Tajik. Thank you for the dono. And Uncle Weezy showing respect right back to the GOAT Tajik. Yeah, there you go. OSP looked bad at heavyweight already previously. Yes, he did. He looked to be in a little bit better shape this time, though. All right, so main event. Have about 9 more minutes before we head out of here. If you guys can hit the like, also subscribe to the channel so you not miss out on the other content. Going live 1 hour prior to the prelims tomorrow at 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Going to be doing a recap show more than likely on Sunday as well. Every Sunday, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. No stat diggers this week, but next week we'll start back up stat diggers for UFC 264. But with that said, me and Uncle Weezy are planning on doing some early content for UFC 264. We're planning on doing a deep dive on the Conor and Dustin fight, and then also a deep dive on the Burns and Thompson fight. Also, if there's any other fights you guys want us to break down, just let me know. We'll potentially do it. But I think those 2 fights really stuck out to me. I think it'd be fun to really dive deep into those. All right, so getting to the main event. And yeah, I mean, this is a bet I got in like last week. And I know a lot of people are going against me. A lot of people are on the Gane train. And as am I. I really do like Cyril Gane. I like his style. I like what he brings to the table, especially for heavyweight. Great cardio, great speed, great output. Not like your typical heavyweights. And same with Volkov. He has a ton of output himself, great cardio himself. Things you just don't see from heavyweights. And that's something I really do like. But yeah, it's a very close fight. I think it's a very close fight. I think it's going to more than likely go to decision. Both guys, not the best finishers in the world, but we have seen Volkov add on a lot of muscle, and he's been hitting harder as of late. A lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I think Volkov is the harder hitter in this matchup. Would be kind of surprised if Gane did finish Volkov. I think if Gane wins, it's going to be him, using that speed, using that athleticism, sticking to the outside, outpointing Volkov. Would be really surprised to see Gane finish Volkov in this fight. But we'll take a look at it. Gane only has 1 knockout win in the UFC, and that 1 knockout win was against Junior Dos Santos, and that was like an elbow to the back of the head. And again, Junior Dos Santos, who has been knocked out a ton of times. I think Dos Santos got cut after that fight as well. Other than that, submitted Dontel Mays, submitted Rafael Pessoa, took Boza to decision, and took Rosenstruck to decision. So, yeah, I'd be shocked if Gane knocked out Volkov here. Volkov only has been knocked out once in the UFC, and by one of the hardest hitting heavyweights in the division, in Derek Lewis. Volkov, good chin. I think Gane has a good chin as well. I think there's a very good chance this does go to decision. So, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Gane won, at all. I really like Gane. I really like his skill set. I think he has some advantages in this fight. It's just the one thing that sticks out to me is going to be the huge, massive experience gap in Alexander Volkov. Gane has 8 fights compared to Volkov, who has 41 fights. It's just crazy experience gap there. And you take a look at who Volkov's lost to in his career in the UFC. Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis, 2 of the best in the division. So it's an interesting fight. You took a look at the weigh-ins, and Volkov's much bigger. He's really thick. He's much heavier. I think he's about 20 pounds heavier. Had to cut down to 265. And, I don't know if that's going to help him or kind of hurt him, because Gane's going to have a significant speed advantage, but Volkov is probably going to have the power advantage in this fight. So, like I said, I do see this going to decision. I do see it being close. With all that factored in, I don't think that Volkov should be this big of an underdog. So I did pull the trigger on Volkov. I got him at plus 152, 1 unit on that. And the line has came down since then. And honestly, how it should. It should. I think this is a close fight. I can't wait till after the fight if Gane wins a decision. Everybody's saying, hey, I told you Stogan's the real deal. I know he's the real deal. I know it's a good chance he wins, but man, should he be a minus 180, minus 190 favorite? No, not at all. So many question marks in this fight. Gane is still very unproven. I think he is the real deal. I think he's legit, but this fight is going to answer a lot of question marks. Easily Gane's toughest test of his career. Could he pass it? Absolutely. But should it be minus 190? No, he shouldn't. So I did take a 1 unit shot on Volkov. And I also bet the fight goes to decision at plus 100. So the best case scenario for me in that aspect is going to be Volkov winning by decision. I will hit the Volkov money line, and I'll also hit the Volkov or the decision prop. Goes the distance. The second best scenario would be a Volkov knockout. Volkov knocks out Gane, which it could happen. Volkov has some power, especially as of late. And at that point, I'd lose the decision prop, but I would hit the Volkov plus 152. I'd gain half a unit. The next scenario would be Gane wins, and he wins a decision. I'd then break even. I'd lose the Volkov 1 unit money line shot, and then I'd lose the or I'd win the decision prop. And then, of course, the worst case scenario would be Gane finishing Volkov, which could happen, maybe, but I'm leaning towards no. So what I want is Volkov decision, but the next best would be a Volkov knockout. Of course, third best, breaking even, would be a Gane decision. So as long as Gane does not finish Volkov, I'll be okay with that. But yeah, you got to take Volkov plus 150. I'd take that all day. I mean, he could very well lose, but man, there is so much value on that line, as I do think it should be a pick 'em. Honestly, with the experience, I do think Volkov, honestly, could argue a slight favorite, but I know a lot of people disagree with me. Don't think people have been this mad at a pick in a while, but a lot of people were really upset about the Dan Ige pick there. I know people really like these hyped fighters, and a lot of people are really high on Gane, and understandable. The guy is legit. It's just question marks, huge step up. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. I'm looking forward to the fight. Either way, if Gane wins, maybe he fights Ngannou next. That'd be a fun fight. If Volkov wins, maybe he fights Ngannou next. Man, Gane versus Ngannou, that'd be a crazy fight. Volkov versus Ngannou again would be a both guys. I'd like to see both of them fighting Ngannou. Volkov is hitting his prime, dude. It looks like it. I mean, this is the best Volkov's ever looked. Volkov is very thick, man. He's very thick. General on Gane, there you go. Yeah, Gane could very well win, but minus 190, minus 180. I don't like it. What are your top 3 lowest owned fights? Don't have the numbers pulled up on me. But I don't have much of the St. Preux Bozer. I don't have much of the Gane Volkov fight in DK. I think if Gane wins, it's probably by decision. Maybe he scores 85, 90, 95. But even then on this slate, I don't know if it's enough to find the optimal. So not much Gane. I have a little bit of Volkov. Unbelievable value on Volkov. So much more experience. Yeah, I agree. There's value. And like I said, he very well could lose. But man, the value on the line. Volkov has more knockouts than Gane has fights. I think it's like 21 knockouts. So the people calling him pillow-fisted, especially now, don't see it. You're close to 100 thumbs up. Come on, people. It's Brady's birthday tomorrow. Appreciate that, Wheezy. Yeah, maybe we can get up to 100, which would be crazy, man, especially with Bellator and PFL going on. Appreciate that, Wheezy. Herbert fight does not go to the distance with Volkov fight over 1.5 rounds. There you go. Yeah, don't hate that. All the Sharps on, it looks like that. The big YouTube channels are out there are all picking Gane, it looks like. I think Clint is on Volkov, but other than that, looks like everybody's on Gane, which, kind of surprised me personally. I thought maybe people, the Sharps would see value on Volkov, but looks like people are going with Gane, which is fine. But the money is coming in on Volkov as of late, which is fine. Fun to be on an island. Give me Gane, Volkov, future gatekeeper. Yeah, I completely disagree with that. Iga got outclassed. I don't know if that's going to happen this week with Volkov, but I do think it's going to be very close. Very interesting show. Wish you very luck tomorrow. Appreciate that. Thank you for hanging out. Winner versus Stipe. Potentially. What makes Gane special is the ability to pick and stick to the winning game plan. Yep. Close fight. Make a decision. I agree. Tajik. Thanks for the breakdown. Good luck tomorrow, everyone. Let's eat. I agree. Let's eat. Happy early birthday. Appreciate that, Mac. Thanks for hanging out. Happy birthday, brother. Appreciate that. So, yeah, 15 minutes. The betting breakdown video will be out. Again, I just go through what I all did, but in like a condensed version, talking about all the bets. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. Instagram is DFS by the numbers. I'm going to be posting my bets within the next 5 minutes as well. Get them out early since it is early start time tomorrow. Yeah, again, thank you so much for hanging out. Very happy with all the amount of people that showed up, especially with PFL and Bellator going on. I know it's very hard to compete with all those guys out there. And again, do want to shout out the sponsor, Pub Sports Radio. They're over there right now breaking down or going live for the Bellator cards. If you want to hang out with them, they're doing live betting, live commentary. Always a great time over there. And just answer final questions here, then head out. Do you see Rachmanov loses to the much older, smaller Pereira? I do not. I mean, Rachmanov's probably my most confident pick on the card, but it's not saying much. There's not really many straight picks to be too confident about, but he probably is one. As far as points in DK, who can score more, Hadzovic or Rosa? Thanks for bringing. Happy birthday. Appreciated that. Bill, thanks for hanging out. Close one. I think Hadzovic, if he wins, it's probably by knockout. Rosa, same thing. Probably takedown, submission. I think the more upsides probably with Rosa, but I think both plays are pretty solid. Yes, I did bet the fight goes the distance at plus 100. I think if there's a finish, I know people are going to disagree with this. I think it will be Volkov getting the knockout. Let's all put our money together and send. Whoa, I can't read that, man. All right. Anyway, yeah. So we'll end with that. Thank you so much for hanging out, and good luck for UFC Vegas 30. Tune into the live stream tomorrow, 1 hour prior to the prelims, and good luck, and let's make